This is a seedless watermelon. You know, there's a lot of talk about if we should do seeded or seedless, and seeded are better, you know, everything like that. Of course, the seeded are better, but you have to do whatever you can do with the resources that you actually have. So I have access to these beautiful, ripe, delicious, seedless watermelons at the local Aldi that I like to go to. Aldi is like one of my favorite places to shop at for groceries. And so I figured what I would do in this video is just show you why this watermelon is the one that I chose, why I think that it's beautiful and ripe. And then I'm just going to show you how I cut it up and get it ready for juicing by putting it in these two bowls. All right. First, let's look at the shape. That's kind of like the first thing that you notice about the shape of the watermelon. Okay? It's not too elongated, all right? And it's also not too much, it's not too spherical, okay? It's kind of like an egg shape, isn't it? I mean, that pretty much looks exactly like the shape of an egg, okay? That is the perfect shape that you want, okay? If it's too elongated or too much like a basketball, then that's not what you want. That can either be underripe, overripe, whereas this one is kind of like the Goldilocks sweet zone in the middle. So that's the first thing that I look at, is the shape. And then once I find a good one that has a really good shape to it, I pick it up and I make sure that it is substantially heavy, okay? This thing, you know, I've got kind of big hands, right? And I'm kind of like strong and tall, but this is still a heavy item right here. I wish I had a scale where I could just tell you how much it is. I would say this is maybe like 10 pounds. I don't know. It's a lot. It could be more than that. All right. So when I was recently picking this out at Aldi, going through their big bin of watermelon, I was searching through, and there were plenty of them that were egg shaped like this. And then you go to pick it up and it's very light. Okay. That's a telltale sign that it's not ripe. And if it's not ripe, it's not going to be sweet. If it's not ripe and it's not sweet, why is it light? It's because it doesn't have a lot of water in there. This is a watermelon. That's why it's so heavy. You know, this is basically like, you know, this could end up being 1.5 gallons of watermelon juice, perhaps even more. Okay. So if they don't let the watermelon sit in the field long enough to soak up some water, soak up enough water, it's not going to ripen properly. And then they pick it prematurely, you know, and then you have a weird texture on the inside. It's more bland tasting. Okay. So first, the shape like an egg. Second, is it really heavy? Third, I look at what is incorrectly called the sunspot. This is actually the opposite of what actually a sunspot would be. This yellow spot right here. All right. You know, I'm looking at myself on the camera screen there while I'm doing this live, and I can see that it's not really picking up the color the way I can see with my eyes. Okay, but this is very bright yellow. All right. There will be some that are like mild yellow, almost on the side of like yellowish green. That means that, you know, this is actually not the sunspot. This is where it sits on the ground. Okay. That means it's just been sitting on the ground less time. All right. The more time that you give these watermelons to ripen to a degree, not such that they become overripe, but that spot right here is going to become more yellow. So that is a good sign that this watermelon is extremely ripe. And the last thing that I do is I look at this end. Okay. I'm still not a super expert on telling which end is which. I think that's the stem end, and then this is the opposite end. Okay. But one of the ends is going to have a nice geometric pattern around there. Ayush, what's up from India? Oh, okay. You don't like black. I'm not sure what you mean by that. What's up, Ayush? I love India, man. Namaskaram, bro. Okay, so you want these geometric, beautiful sort of lines. It almost looks like an eyeball, like those fibers in your iris in your eyeball. Okay? Watch, guys. Go look at some watermelons next time you go to the store. Some will be like kind of muddled and kind of like cloudy looking. All right, this one has very striated, beautiful, sharp, distinctive lines on it. So this one met all four of my categories. Egg-shaped, very heavy, super yellow sunspot, even though it's not a sunspot, it's where it sits on the ground. And then number 4 is super striated lines around one of the ends. And I think this end is opposite of the stem end. Oh, you don't like the seeds inside the watermelon. Okay, got you. Well, this is actually a seedless watermelon. All right, but there is some controversy out there on whether or not seedless watermelons are GMO or if they're treated with a chemical that renders the watermelon sterile, because the seeds are the reproductive part of the watermelon. So if you render this watermelon sterile, it's not going to produce seeds. Okay, but what sort of chemical is that? They gave a name in the research that I was looking at. I just can't recall it right now. And people think that, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, hee? Vinyak Patil, what's up, man? So they say that if you eat a seedless watermelon that has been treated with that chemical that makes the watermelon sterile so it doesn't have any seeds, that you then are going to become sterile. And what's up? All good, man, all good. So, but listen guys, this watermelon, even most seedless watermelons, they still have seeds in them. They're just kind of small and less prevalent as the black seeds, okay? And so at this point in my raw food career, I'm still eating the seedless watermelon. I'm still eating conventional produce. It is my dream and my goal at some point in the future to, have like a homestead type of situation where I can have a lot of this stuff growing on site, or at least be close to, like, for example, India, Sri Lanka, Southeast Asia, the Caribbean, Central America, South America, Colombia area. It's such a lush provider and grower of produce that, none of it's organic. It's all really good quality. So that's what I'm shooting for at some stage of my life. But we got to do the best we can with what we have. And most of us are in a situation right now where we're still relying on getting our produce from the market, the store. So the best that we can actually do is know how to pick good stuff. So I hope that helped you on how to pick out a good watermelon. I'm going to use this watermelon for juicing. David, yes, Whole Foods, that's right. Whole Foods, that's where it all started for me. I started in my teens. I lost 100 pounds by switching to a whole foods diet, specifically the alkaline diet, which gives you a list of foods ranked from top to bottom that affect the alkalinity or acidity of your body. Obviously, your junk foods, your fried foods, processed foods, those are going to be the most acidic on your body. And then, of course, whole fresh foods like this are going to be at the top of the list. So throughout those 20 years since then, I've always wanted to eat whole foods as much as possible. And I came across this raw food stuff, and obviously all the salads, the fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, those are going to be the most alkaline forming in your body. And why do you want to keep your body alkaline? Because any sort of disease is not going to be able to thrive in an alkaline environment. Cancers, anything like that, it's not going to be able to live in an alkaline environment. And there's so many more benefits like longevity, a longer lifespan, longer health span. better energy. The list goes on and on and on. And as you guys know, for those of you guys live right now, what's up, what's up? And then also anybody rewatching this, I am on day 25 of my juice fast. Super proud of myself. The longest I've gone before is 23 days, so I beat my record so far by 2 days. And I'm feeling amazing. The last and the first juice fast that I did, that was 23 days, I did in the month of February. Obviously, these beauties are not in season in the month of February. I attribute a big part of my success to the ease of juicing and the economic affordability of just guzzling the watermelon juice. So this is how I cut it for juicing. You guys might be surprised that we are actually going to juice the rind as well. There are so many good nutrients. There's chlorophyll, additional water. You want to get as much of the water in your diet from fruits and vegetables. That's structured water, H2O3, rather than H2O. It assimilates and hydrates you on an intracellular level much more efficiently, much more so than drinking H2O. But I don't juice the ends of the rinds, so let me just start by cutting those off first. And then we're going to discard them. It's okay if there's like a little bit of red in there. There's not much. You could dig it out if you wanted to, kind of like go like that. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Just to show you guys, I will work my knife around kind of like in a circular pattern. Okay, and then you've got this little flesh piece out. Boom, shakalaka, into my bowl over there. And then we're going to discard that. Do the same thing for the other end. And this one, I'm definitely going to want to dig the flesh out of that one. Which, by the way, flesh, meat, these words that we use for animal products, these were originally words applied towards fruit, guys. The flesh of the fruit, the meat of the fruit. So there's a nice big chunk right there. I got most of it out with those knife skills. Boom. Now the rest of this, guys, this is all getting juiced. So there's, only a couple different ways that you can really do it. Crazy, what's up? Thank you guys all for being here. This is so fun doing the lives, for real. So I'm just gonna cut this bad boy right down the middle. Okay? And then I'm gonna prop up one of the ends like on the bottom, okay? Let me just put this other piece over here, all right? And then I'm gonna cut it in half again. Let's see if I can help you guys to see it a little bit better. There you go, all right? Let's see a little bit better. Cool. All right, cutting it in half again. So now we've quartered the watermelon after cutting the ends off, or top and tail it, sometimes people say. Okay, I can set this off to the side over here, the counter. It's actually my stove, but I got a little countertop that I use it for, because I don't use my stove, because I don't cook my foods anymore. All right, so yeah, now we've got it into eighths. And literally, guys, any way you do this, like sometimes I do it different every time, it feels like, but there's no rhyme or reason. We're just looking for something that fits in the juicer, so you don't have to keep refilling the juicer. It's okay. You can put this bad boy in big old pieces inside the juicer, right? Okay. But if you chop it up and spend a little bit of time of putting in smaller pieces, then you're actually going to fit more inside the hopper of your juicer. Let me just show you. This is the hopper of the Nama2 juicer, okay? This is where all the juice goes, and I have the base over here, the motor and everything like that, okay? So we want to fit as much volume in here as possible, because I might fill this up and then keep chopping, okay? I'm doing a little bit different for the live, but that's what I would normally do, to be honest with you. I would take this stuff here, this watermelon that's been chopped into about 1 by 1 by 1 cubes. Put that inside the hopper, and because it's smaller, cut smaller, there's going to be a larger volume of fruit inside the juicer, and that way I'm getting more done as I continue chopping, and I can make juicing a little bit more efficient. That's a big one, guys, because like I told you, I'm on day 25 of my juice fast. When you're juice fasting, you're cleaning out the toxins in your body, but you're also cleaning out a lot of, like, if you ever feel like you need to deal with some stuff, you know what I mean? Mental stuff, emotional stuff, all that stuff is going to come up on a juice fast. So there have been moments where I'm like, man, you know, this juice fasting stuff is very time consuming. Oh my God. You know, get a little annoyed or whatever. That's okay. It is time consuming. And it's costly. I'm a little less worried about that one because I can easily justify the cost of it versus the cost of not being healthy later on in life, or having less health than I normally would have if I didn't juice fast. Okay? But yeah, it's still a time investment. One of these days I do want to do like a super long juice fast. But I don't know, guys. You're juicing a lot, so I might need to be able to afford somebody to help me out with that. You know, hence those Southeast Asian countries or Central American countries where, you know, labor's cheaper, they have better quality fruits, more robust selection of fruits that are in season more often throughout the year. So that's something on my radar for a while. But I'm telling you, despite, you know, juicing being time consuming, which it is, all right, watermelon is the game changer. If you guys are looking to do a juice fast, then the summer is the time to do it. This is day 25 for me, you know, so it's the 25th of July. That means that on the 1st of July was my first day of this juice fast. So this has been a very juicy July for me. I am trademarking that, okay? This has been a juicy July. But it's not too late, guys. Watermelon's still going to be in season for a little while longer. You can easily, you know, hop on a juice fast. Like, now, like, there's a few of you guys on here right now still. Now would be a perfect time to, like, start tapering down, okay? And start, you know, doing just the whole foods, more salads, getting your juicer ready, trying a couple juice recipes, you know, this next week, okay? And then it's going to be August already, my fam, okay? So you can start tapering down now and be ready by August 1st. And you could go 3 weeks. 3 weeks is a perfect time frame for your first juice fast, in my opinion. Mine was 23 days. You know, just because 23 is my lucky number, and it was about to be my birthday, and I was born on the 23rd. So I was like, I'm kind of weird like that with my numbers, right? I wanted to do my first big juice fast, a proud accomplishment. I wanted to do my lucky number of the 23rd, but 2 weeks is perfect, you guys. Or I mean, excuse me, 3 weeks. All right. At my 3 week mark, I took an after photo to show people what just a simple 3 week juice fast can do. I'm not saying it's easy, it's simple, right? You know, getting in there, doing it, it might be some challenges sometimes, but it's very simple. You just make the juice and you drink the juice. For guys, I like to recommend like 2 gallons a day. For ladies, I like to recommend 1.5 gallons. But it really, I mean, it's up to you. You know, if you've got some different goals and you want to mix in a little bit more weight loss, that's going to happen regardless, though. So if you look at my before picture, my after picture, which on like my main videos on my channel, I'm going to be making a video soon about my 3 week transformation on a juice fast. Then you're going to see I lost 18 pounds, 2% body fat, you know, so it's remarkable. you guys. It's one of the best things you can do. You're going to eliminate a bunch of toxins that have been in your body, and you're going to actually tangibly and physically see them come out of you. All right? I hate to say it like that. I hate to bring it there, but it's true. And that is going to flip some sort of switch in your mind that you're not going to be able to unsee that. And from that moment forward, you're going to forever tie the fact that what you eat doesn't all come out if you're eating bad stuff. So then you'll have a tool in your toolbox to get that stuff out, periodically throughout your life. Some people do it every quarter, once a year, a couple times a year. This is especially good if you're still going to be eating cooked foods and animal products, which most of you guys are. But even in the case of like raw vegans or raw foodists, which that's what I mostly do. I consider myself high raw or a raw foodist, but I'm not going to constrain myself in any sort of dogmatic label. That's just what I say. All right. But even people living that clean, when they do one of these juice fasts, they can claim that they have stuff coming out of them from their childhood, stuff coming out of them that they can smell that is one of their old favorite foods that they stopped eating a while ago. Like, that's kind of trippy. The stuff stays stuck in you because this is stuff that we're not meant to be eating. All right, this is what we're meant to be consuming, guys. This beautiful watermelon. Oh, is that, we got 10 people here? Okay, that's not enough for you guys? Oh, sure, don't worry, because I got more for you guys. Love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. That's how I choose a watermelon and get it ready for juicing. The rest is just easy. You put it in your juicer. It doesn't matter what juicer you get, as long as it makes juice, okay? I've got the Nama. You don't have to be bougie like that. In fact, if you have Amazon, I would recommend getting the Huron, maybe. But Nama is amazing. They're both made by the same company, right? You can sometimes get a really good deal on Amazon, but even the less expensive ones, and just start, all right? Start tapering down. And maybe consider doing the first 3 months of August. It's not too late to have that summer body, or to have that, be more confident in your swimsuit and your trunks and your bikini, okay? And then go with that vibe into the fall, okay? And then take that energy, now that you've learned, okay, well, maybe I'm gonna have like less of the pumpkin spice, maybe I'm gonna have less of the Halloween candy, and then take that vibe into, okay, well, maybe I'm going to have a little bit more self-control and, not eat quite as much of a variety and quite as much of different stuff at Thanksgiving. And then same thing for Christmas. And then how are you going to start 2026? Doing a juice fast, or even just for those of you guys who stuck around and are listening, that can change the trajectory of your entire life. Not an overstatement at all, because it did for me. I'm the last person you would expect to be doing a juice fasts and, not eating meat and whatever, okay? Minnesota, born and raised, the land of meat and potatoes, all right? But now, my land and my world is filled with delicious, beautiful watermelon. Thank you guys. I love you guys so much. It would mean the world to me if you would, help me get to that, next level as far as my subscribers. And liking the video really helps as well. So hope you guys have a beautiful rest of the day. And until next time, I will talk soon. Peace.